Boom, coming in hot. Hitchin, what's going on, brother?
Oh, wow. My dryer just buzzed. Sorry. That's good timing.
Somebody entered the basement.
This is right when you said boom. Yeah, man, all good. What are you doing? You're at the network again this week.
I'm at the network, dude. It worked late last. It was planes, trains, and automobiles yesterday. Actually, dude. I saw after we did the show, my flight was obviously delayed. I ended up getting into LaGuardia at like 5, which is like couldn't be the worst time to land in LaGuardia. So I landed in LaGuardia, and you're gonna laugh at this because I didn't even want to tell Sarah, but I was like, okay. I was going to an Uber, and whenever you're in New York, you get those people that are like, hey, we got an Uber out here out front. So the guy's like, hey, Uber out front. I'm like, no, I'm going down here. He goes, you'll wait 30 more minutes to get that Uber. I go, all right, what do you got? So
you did
it? Up to this guy, this black SUV. The guy took me home. I was thinking, am I going to go missing? I got 50-50 shot. I go, it's been such a long day.
Yeah.
Sarah said I was making it easy for something. No, I know. I was like, no, listen. A woman pulled up and she took me in the SUV back to. And it was legit. It was like Johnny's limos or something.
All right, at least you got out of there. Yeah. Dude, this weather's a mess here.
Well, dude, I got to the network. I had a 7 o'clock meeting for the 10 o'clock show, so I literally went home. I grabbed a quick bite with Sarah, and then bam, I was at the. I was basically at the network, and then the game went late. So it was just one of those days. I got home at like 12:30 last night.
Dude, folks, working in baseball on a night like last night is like one of the toughest things in all of media to do, dude. It's why, like, they always say, like, NFL has all their stuff on the West Coast. So those people get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning for the early games. And baseball is all on the East Coast. So you would think it would be swapped so that, you get out at like 9 or 10 instead. What'd you get out at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning?
Almost 1 o'clock.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, Yankees didn't help you out with their bullpen the way things are.
Well, that's what we were following. We were following that game, Chinch. And then we're like, oh, boy. What do you think? I had a question for you, bro. You're a Yankee fan. What do you think about, like, because, like, they took Devin Williams out of the closer role.
Mm-hmm.
First off, he made a comment about the weather last night, which I was like, I was in life and especially in baseball, no one wants the weather report. You know what I mean? No one wants the weather report. Just get the job done. Don't tell me the weather report. Even in business, don't tell me, well, you know what, so-and-so didn't call me back and it was a tough night. The cell phone service was down. Like, no one wants to hear the weather report. Like, this.
Dude, when I was in college, when I was in college, we had a game where, like, it was a sun field, and we made like 4 errors. And my coach, after the game, would go, "We don't play in a closet. You don't play baseball in a closet. I don't want to hear about the weather." And I was like, I'll never forget him saying.
I love that, dude. I love that. It's true. I'll tell you a quick story after we talk Devin Williams. But Devin Williams, I think one of the things too is, you take him out of the closer role. And now you put him in the high leverage 8th inning role. That's like not a ton of like time off. That's still a stressful situation. It's a 3-0 game in the 8th. Devin Williams comes in and it just looks to me, Chance, like confidence is low. He's dancing around the strike zone, not throwing his pitches with conviction. Like he got the swing and miss on Tatis. When Tatis got tossed, which was awesome too. When Schilt came out and he got tossed, that was pretty fun. But I think that rallied them a little bit. And I just felt like, the changeup isn't as effective when you have a non-compete fastball. What I mean by that is, your fastball's got to be around the zone. It's got to be an upper rail fastball where it really sets up that changeup. I feel like the fastball's been like off the plate. As a hitter, I'm like, that's a non-compete fastball. That's not really deceiving. And it's not setting up anything with my eyes. As a pitcher, you're trying to deceive the hitter. And it looks like right now, like, because he's kind of all over the place, there's no deception there. So I feel for Devin Williams, not a great place to be. And then Weaver comes in, faces Machado, boom, gets 1-1, rocket in the corner, 2-run score, then throws that first pitch, cement mixer, backup slider to Bogarts. He bullets, 2-run score, next thing it's 4-3, like 4-3 game. You're like, what just happened?
Dude, so if you're a player on a team, like how long can you wait until you have to figure out we need a new closer or we need bullpen help? Because Ryan Helsley's out there and people are saying the Yankees might have to pull the trigger now so they don't fall too far behind with this. But then it's like, is that just crazy New York reaction to something like that?
Well, dude, we're 1 month in. If you go back and look at Devin Williams' stats, the guy was the best closer in the game. That's why the Yankees went to get him. That's why they gave up Durbin and Nestor Cortez to go get Williams, because he's the best closer in the game. So I have to think, once he gets his confidence back, once he maybe gets a feel back in the bullpen, I don't know if there's something going on there. You always wonder, too, when you see a guy like him not getting it done, is he tipping the changeup? Or guys, because if I know a guy's best pitch is coming, sometimes when it's so nasty like his changeup, I just spit on it. I'm like, I'm not swinging. I'm not swinging, waiting for the heater. So who knows what it is, but it's such a long year, dude. I don't know if you're hitting the panic button yet as far as going to get Ryan Helsley, closer. But I do see his name popping up because the Phillies are talking about it too. They're having. Here we go. You've got great lineups. You got great starting pitches, but bullpens win you games. But the Yankees bullpens were one of the best in the game.
Yes, in general. I mean, they have on paper they're as good as anybody could possibly be in a big league. So maybe you just give it a run, get through this, let Judge keep hitting 550, and hope you get some wins until you figure it out. Such a funky season so far, because you wouldn't have thought coming into the season that we'd be worried about the Yankees, but the Athletics on the flip side, dude, they've won 7 out of 10. They've won 2 in a row. They're 20-16 without a home.
Isn't that incredible? Dude, you know why? Because they're so young. They're like, hey, we're in the big leagues. This is incredible. They have no idea. They don't know the history. They don't know the playing in Oakland. They just know they're in the big leagues. They're so excited, especially the guy that we've talked about on this show a lot. We feel like we need to get him on the show. Friend of the show is Jacob Wilson. Comes up big. I don't know if you saw the game, too, last night. Chance State had a man on third, I think, and they intentionally walked Langoliers, and then they put on Blade. They put on Blade and Langoliers basically to face Wilson, which is like, I don't know what Dan Wilson was thinking there, because that's a guy you don't want to face. Like, I'm saying, going back to my career, like game on the line, you don't want to face me, because I'm going to put a bat together. I'm going to put the ball in play. Like, I'm going to probably put the ball in play hard. I have a chance to get a hit with bases loaded. You want a strikeout guy there. You want to face somebody that maybe could punch out. So, like, that was a weird strategy I was looking at in the A's game. And then, Wilson comes up with that big hit. He's putting the ball in play. He's probably going to square it up. So it was.
He's hitting 341.
Huh?
He's hitting 341, Case. 341 in 135 at bats. Yeah, that's big. Dude. They got 2 dudes with 9 bombs in Rooker and Soderstrom. I mean, they have a solid team.
Dude, Soderstrom's 23. He's got nine bombs, and Rakin. Rooker's got 9 bombs. Kurtz has like a 10-game hitting streak. He doesn't have a homer yet, but he's like got on base since he's been up there. And when he gets hot, he's gonna go off, dude. That's just an adjustment period. Lawrence Butler's the star. He guy can run, play the field, hit for homers too. Blade, Langoliers, they got some bangers. Dude, Langoliers, I think he hit his 7th. Dude, Mark Kotze has those boys playing. Dude, Mason Miller's your closer. They signed Severino. The rotation's been good. That's a good team, and they're young. It reminds me kind of the '99 Reds. That feeling of like, man, look at all these young kids that can play, and then you got some veterans thrown in there too, like a Rooker that just signed a long-term deal. So it's a fun team to watch, man.
Yeah, and how about being a young player and having a manager who did it, who played? I think that means something, dude, right?
Are you kidding me? When you're a young team and you look at Mark Kotze, who's like a 14-year veteran who had a really great career, you look over and you go, all right, we're in good hands. This guy's been here, done that, every situation, pulling the trigger, knows what to do, was under Bob Melvin for years as his bench coach. I mean, if anyone was ready to take over a big league team, it's Mark Kotze. If anyone was ready to, has seen the game, and the Kotze is a lifer. He's one of those guys. You knew when he came out of Cal State Florida, like, this guy loves baseball. You know what I mean? I played against him in the Cape, played with him. This guy's the greatest. So I'm so happy for Kotz, man, seeing him out there. We got to get him on the show, too. We've never had him on the show, have we?
No, let's do that. That's a good one.
We got to make a call.
Yeah. All right, well, let's stay with the exuberance of youth, because your Kansas City Royals have won 12 out of 14. Here's the thing that's pretty cool about them. Bobby Witt Jr. hasn't really hit for power yet. He's got 4 bombs. He's hitting 314, but it's like he hasn't gotten hot yet, and they are in an extremely competitive division. Tigers are good. Guardians are good. They're good. It's a fun division to watch.
It's really fun. Vinny P swinging it. Did you see the play made last night over the shoulder, double play at first, like pretty awesome athletic play by Vinny P. But yeah, I mean, Michael Garcia he's raking right now, which has been huge. Bobby Witt obviously doing what he's doing. Michael Massey hasn't even gotten hot yet. Salvi. But man, this team is a fun team to watch. They're just exciting. They're Matty Q has them playing at a great level. The rotation's been great. Cole Reagans is back. I mean, there's just so much to like about this team and the way they're playing. They came out the gates cold. You're like, oh man, what's going on with the Royals? But they're showing why they were a playoff team last year. The team they put together, JJ Piccolo there, is deep. They got a lot of sustainability as far as like night in and night out. They're a good baseball team.
Yeah, and their starting pitching rotation is about in the mid threes ERA. Like they're keeping themselves in games. And like I said, they haven't really gotten super hot yet. I really think offensively with their best players, like Bobby Witt can carry you for like 2 weeks. He hasn't had that stretch yet, and they're right in the middle of this division.
Yeah,
so
I love it, man. Love it.
And speaking of hitting, we have another Boone back in baseball as a hitting coach.
Yeah, I love it. Dude, I talked to Brett last night. Great conversation with him after we talked to him. He just got into Boston. Dude, I almost feel like it's the same situation as me. I remember Aaron Boone calling me. I was coming back from seeing Jake in the Cape. Went to the Cape Cod. Sarah and I are in the airport. Boone calls me. I'm like, dude, what's up? Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I saw Sarah's doing well. Blah, blah. Hey, do you want to be the hitting coach for the Yankees? I'm like, what? I'm like, if I did it, when do I start? He's like, in 2 days. I'm like, oh my God, it's incredible. Like it literally took me by, and you got to talk to Sarah, you got to talk to my daughters. Like, I had to kind of talk to my boys to figure out, what everybody was thinking. Then next thing I know, I was in Colorado, dude, and I was the hitting coach for the Yankees. I'm talking to Aaron Judge. I'm having hitters meetings. I'm like, what? That's kind of what happened with Booney. Bruce Bochy calls him and says, hey, and I think he had Boch on the podcast before, so he was like, Boch, you want to come back on the podcast? What's going on? How's everything? He had no idea. And Boch was like, hey, we need you here. We need you here in Texas, man. And
that's so cool.
He's like, let me talk to my wife. Now he's in Boston. He's like, California, Boston. Here we go. Let's get it on.
And speaking of former players, that franchise has like an all-star team now, like with him there. Don't forget Michael Young's hangs out in the front office. He's got some great hitters in the franchise that can help these guys out. It's interesting.
No, it's great, man. It's great. It's great. I think Booney's a great fit, dude. He's going to do a wonderful job. And I think my biggest advice to him was be yourself, dude. You've almost been the MVP of the league. You've also – listen, guys, what guys need to understand when you're the hitting coach and when you're coaching these guys is that you've struggled. Because everyone struggles in this game. Nobody wants to know that Brett Boone was one of the best players of that generation. Of his generation, MVP votes the 1 year, he hit 40-some bombs a few years at Safeco, was an all-star in a bunch of years. But also, dude, you go back to 1997 with the Reds, he got sent down for 3 days, and they called up Aaron. That was Aaron. They called up Brett to call up Aaron for 3 days because Booney was so bad and struggling so bad, hitting 200. So he's had his ups and his downs, and those experiences are priceless when you're dealing with big league guys that are struggling. You're like, hey man, I've been there. This is what you got to do. Well, this is what I did. I slowed down, or I, started, hunting the fastball out, or giving the inside pitch, whatever it is. That's priceless to talk to guys, for a guy like Brett Boone that's been there. And so it's going to be great for him, man. And having more Boones in the game is a good thing. I mean, you got 3 generations of Boones. Ray Boone, that was a great grandfather. He was in the game a long time. Bob has been a manager in the front office, played 20 years in the big leagues, all-star, world champion. Aaron's, had a 12-year career in the big leagues. Now he's been the Yankees coach for 9 years. Just signed a 3-year deal, and now Brett's back in the game. I think it's great for everybody. So I'm excited for Brett, dude. He's a great guy, and he's going to do a great job.
Yeah, like perfect personality to be a coach, right? Because he's tough, hard-nosed, kind of badass, but also he is one of the sneakier, funnier people I've ever met. He can get on you. Yeah, that's great to have on you.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. It's awesome, gonna be great, dude. I got one other quick story I want to say. As far as remember, I said nobody wants the weather report. Nobody wants the weather report, dude.
Yes.
Mark Shapiro is Scott Pioli, who was a good friend of mine. Scott's the best. Used to be the GM for the Patriots all those years. and him and Mark Shapiro at the time was the GM of the Cleveland Indians, and Scott Pioli is marrying Bill Parcells' daughter. So it's a small wedding. I don't know where it's at. It's the Bahamas or something. It's a really small wedding. There's like 12 people there, but Mark, I think, is the best man for Scott. So they're sitting there and they're sitting there and they're having dinner or whatever. And Bill says to Mark, "Hey, Mark, Mark remembers the GM for the Indians at the time, not the Guardians then, so I can say Indians because that's when it was." And he says,
"That's what it was."
He says, "Hey, Mark, how's the season going?" Mark's like, "You know what?" He's like, "We're banged up right now. Fryman's down with a knee. Tomey's back's been bothering him. Vizquel, has a hangnail or something. Or, he goes through the thing. He's like, 3 of the big dudes are out. He's like, kind of struggling right now, blah, blah." And Parcells pauses and looks at Mark and goes, "Mark, just remember this. Nobody gives a shit." And he said later on, so Mark's like, "What the heck? That's not cool. That's not cool." So later on, they go to the bathroom. Parcells is in there. Mark's like, "Oh, no." Parcells washed his hands, walking out. He's like, "Don't forget, Mark, nobody gives a shit." And the point is, nobody wants the weather report. Nobody wants to know that the mound's not great. Nobody wants to know that it's raining outside. They want to know, are you winning or you're not? And if you're not, if things aren't going well, how are you going to make them well? And how are you going to figure it out? It's the ultimate accountability. Mark was like, it was a great lesson. He was right. Parcells was right. Nobody cares. They want to know if you're winning or you're not winning. Nobody wants to know what's going on. Nobody wants the weather report.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I love it. What do we got today? We're on MLB Now, and you got Adnan with you today.
Adnan, right? Mikey Lowell, and JP Morosi, who's in the studio, which that never happened. So it'd be good, man. It'll be going to be a good crew. I'm excited.
All right, awesome. Don't get in any shady cabs on the way over there today, okay? Sorry, it's not to be happy about that.
I'm here. Chintzy, I love you, man. Great seeing you. And everyone out there, thanks for listening to us. Really appreciate you. If you could tell your people, if you've already subscribed, if you could subscribe and download, because we know a ton of you guys are listening and not subscribed. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that button, but it helps us out. All right, Chintzy, have a great day, man. I'll talk to you. See you tomorrow.